Welcome back. This is Joe Blasco with Greg Cannom. Greg, I'm going to ask you to tell me a little about Hannibal with Gary Oldman. What an incredible makeup. And I know that the way that you designed this makeup, that there was a little construction element that you worked into it prior to the application of the appliance. Tell me all about Hannibal.
Well, Hannibal was just an incredible film to work on. Ridley Scott was the director, and he's unbelievable. And to work with him, and then he got us on, and we didn't know who the actor was going to be. And I was like, oh, I hope they get Gary, because he'll let me clamp.
He'll let me do anything to it.
Yeah, and then luckily we did a bunch of designs for it, because it had to be, pretty faithful to the book. Yeah. And the makeup's impossible to do on an actor. It's impossible. And we did all these designs. Oh, everybody in the shop was sculpting, and they all look like zombies.
When you say the makeup is impossible to do on an actor,
the makeup that was in the book.
In the book.
Because it was just an eyeball with this spritzer on it,
yes.
and all this flesh missing,
yes.
and it was very deep.
Yes, but you came as close as you could possibly
get.
Yeah,
so we did all these, because we talked to experts who said that you can't have ligaments and that on the outside. They just dry up and fall off,
yeah.
And we did all these, and they all look like zombies. Everything, I was just
yeah.
like, oh, it's a horror makeup.
Yes.
And I wanted to create something so disturbing
yes.
and real. And then Gary got hired on, and they went to shoot in Venice, and so Gary walks into their shop and goes, isn't there a way of clamping my eye open? And I went, yes.
Back to the Lon Chaney Sr. days.
And I absolutely love Gary. He's my favorite actor I've worked
yeah.
with. He
seems willing to do anything.
Oh, he'll do
makeup.
He loves makeup
just...
and Dracula.
Yes.
He goes, in your makeups, I can move in them, and the costumes, I can't move
yeah.
at all.
He's a makeup fan.
Oh, he loves it. And to do a makeup on him
yes.
and pull it off as a makeup, and
yes.
then him act it. So he came in, and I had to fly over to Venice, and I took Glenn Hans with me, and because we were getting down to the wire, and I walked in to Ridley. We had a trailer. Ridley walks in. I have a face cast of Gary, and he goes, I've changed my mind. I want it to look like a diseased fetus. And I went, what? And he had a drawing of kind of,
yes.
of a fetus. And, this little, I want a little tiny nose, and Gary's got a, good nose.
Very good size
and I'm just
nose.
like, you have got to be kidding me. But it's one of those things where we tried everything, wasn't happy with it. I sat down one day, sculpted what's in the movie. I sculpted
in one day.
In one day, I sculpted it. We had to, we had looked at real pictures of where a dog had
really
eaten his face off, and things like that, or he fed it to the dog and cut it off himself and all this stuff. And supposedly in Hannibal, I think the dog had eaten the nose, or no, the real one, had eaten the nose and coughed it up, and the acid had done stuff to it, in the real
yes.
thing, and they put it back on anyway, and it was really horrible. But I was like, how am I going to do this? And I took like the mouth piece and the nose, and I did separate lips and separate pieces, and was looking stupid. And I took the whole nose, mouth, and put it on sideways,
yeah.
and tilted the whole thing,
yeah.
and built it up, and took like his chest where they would have cut it out and put it up on his face and grafted it,
yes.
and how they took part of his scalp and grafted it and do all this. And then the eye opening was a major thing. We clamped his eye open literally for 2 weeks, where we had underneath, this worked brilliantly, how we had the silicone piece, and we did clear silicone pieces with painting underneath it, yes. So you had this translucent. The one thing about silicone is other people have done, which I didn't like also, is it looks like wax. To me, it's always looked waxy, the shiny silicone. That's why I wanted to put makeup on it, yes. So I could
control
look realer, control
that light reflection.
And I just hated that waxy look. But this film, I wanted that waxy look.
Yes.
So we did transparent silicone with the color on the bottom, so that there was depth to it, this weird waxy. I wanted to look like a wax figure.
Yeah.
And so the eye worked great. This eye was a regular eye with a contact in it. This eye, which had to be, no eyelids.
Yes.
That was the trick of this eye. And but Gary, it had to work with Gary. What we did was the silicone piece ended under here. I did a little foam piece that glued on.
Yes.
That was free floating.
Yes.
Under his eye, so that it was glued right under here like an eye bag piece.
Yes.
It was glued right under here, but it wasn't glued down on top. And we had a little piece that glued under his eye that was connected to a wire.
Yes.
And that went down a tube through the makeup down onto his chest. We'd glue a thing onto his chest and we'd wrap the wire around it.
So that you could
we could literally pull his eyelash down. And then that floating edge, I would pull it out and his eyelashes would sit then underneath the ledge.
Yeah, oh, I see.
So that floating
piece.
piece
As though there was no lid there.
was sitting on his eyelashes. And it was about, 1/16 of an inch away from the corner of his eye. And we put goop there, eye goop, and so you couldn't see anything there, no eyelashes, anything. And then to release it, we just release it and it would pop back up, slip out, and it was, because I wanted it to be very safe that we could get in and out of it like that.
Yes, excellent.
And then the top piece, we did a piece of silk.
Yes.
And we glued that to his whole eyelid and pulled his eyelid up.
Yes.
And we took Duo and put it in his eyelash and glued his eyelashes down to look like scar tissue.
Yes.
Made it real pink in that. But then we had this piece of silk going up back here, and the wig was cut, and flip it up, Velcro, and we just pull the whole thing up, and then Velcro it and put the wig down.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
So they would run the film, and we'd get in there, and then we'd pull everything.
Yes.
And then you have to be so careful. It's so dangerous to dry an eye out like this. And the contact lenses covered his whole eye, which kept it moist. And then we put drops in every 30 seconds, minute. Constantly putting drops in. And we shot for 2 weeks, luckily. And
amazing.
And Gary, he's like, pull it tighter, pull it.
What a trooper.
No, this is enough. And he, and then to see him in the makeup. And I was very happy because it was a modern day Frankenstein makeup to me. And it was disturbing. And I knew people were going to go, is that his real eye? It has to be, Because if we'd done a fake one, it
would have looked fake.
It would have looked fake.
Yeah, that's amazing. Absolutely.
So, and amazing. Rick Baker really loved it, which was very nice. He said some very nice things.
Did he call you? Did he talk to you?
I saw him at the makeup show after that, and he, did a speech to the makeup show how he was very proud of me, and that makeup was he really loved it and everything, and talked to me about it. But so that was cool.
Again, innovation, and I think that's really what sets many of the finest makeup artists apart from the masses, and that is that there are pioneers. And then there are those who learn from the pioneers and continue. But there's always that handful of artists, and you are part of that group that I must say, have taken and raised the standards of the profession many rungs. We're going to stop right now just for a second. We're going to be right back right after this word. Don't go away. We'll have more with Greg Cannom.